what it means is that you're never upset for the reason you think. So if you think you're upset because you lost a job or because your boss was mean to you or because the economy was tanking and the Fed should have done something different with the rates, or somebody hacked your crypto exchange and you lost all your money or whatever. Not that that happened to me like a bunch of times. You think that's all buying into these frames of like of injustice, which are based on thoughts of separation, which themselves are kind of dubious upon inspection. And A Course in Miracles is not like it's offering you this frame, and same here, me, I'm offering you these things to try on, but in no way am I saying this is something you have to take it as fact. Like these are symbols too, right? So the real deal is to like find the symbols that help you find more love in the truest, wholest, freest, emptiest sense of the word. And what that means for me is like looking in the moment, like, oh yeah, when I'm upset, when I'm angry, when I'm sad, when I'm happy, when I'm ecstatic, when I'm turned on, when I'm like craving, when I'm rejecting. It's just like looking at what's really going on. And at a fundamental level, I'm creating all of this stuff through meaning making, which is just completely unnecessary. And when I look actually in the moment, I'm like, man, being is, awareness is, I am, I can feel that, I know that. Everything else is made up. Even when it's real, even when I'm like, okay, this is a body, like that's a made up distinction, because what this actually is like skin and like organs, and what that actually is bacteria and like gut biomes, and what that actually, it's like it's all there's a construct choice at every time we make any sort of designation. We're choosing a construct, right? And you can see this so obviously. Again, I've been watching my child acquire language over the past year, and it's beautiful and amazing. It always like twists my mind the way he uses language. It's like, oh, that is a good way to use it. For example, one silly stupid example is like last night, he was like, close the bed, no, close the blanket, and because he wanted the blanket on top of him, and it was like, that is a kind of closing. That's creative. He did that too with my hand. He wanted my hand on him. He's like, close your hand. And I'm like, of course, that's a great way to say it. I never thought of it that way. And so it's like he's making these distinctions, which are not real distinctions. I'm like, obviously, I'm not closing the blanket the same way I close a door. And yet, it's a perfectly fine distinction. It's true of us. We're not actually singular bodies. That humans can't exist in isolation. We're overlapping networks of communities. We're sharing gut biomes. We're like the products of, like, I had coffee this morning. God knows how many people were involved in getting that coffee from like the bean in the ground that grew the plant to like my lips, and the water I use, and this there's just like this crazy level of interdependence of what I actually am, to even do something so simple as drink coffee. It's like it's so silly in some ways that I think I'm an I. And yeah, of course, I walk through the day. I need to take care of myself. We need to have good boundaries in order to allow that love to flow. But nevertheless, like what happens is, the more I can see the illusion of that, of the fiction of those boundaries, of those constructions, I'm actually more free to hold them lovingly and lightly, and play with them. There's an attitude of lightheartedness or playfulness that comes from it. A good example of this is there's this famous quote that I think is often misunderstood, where anger is never justified, from A Course in Miracles. And the misunderstanding that I think I see people do is like, oh, therefore I shouldn't be angry. But that's not what the Course is saying. There's no shoulds in a world of form. There's just, is it moving you closer to love or further from love? And then it's your choice. You're the decision maker that gets to decide whether you want to choose a miracle. The miracle here is forgiveness, by the way. It's the shift in perception from individual or separated or sinful or guilty to innocent, connected, joined, one with God. So that's the miracle that this is a course in, is shifting perception. It's seeing oneness. So what I was forgot to finish with anger is the yes and, the transcend and include is it's anger is not justified, but neither does that mean it's unjustified. Like it simply is. So is any emotion. So is anything. Like see it for what it is. And from this view, no eyes, no ears, no mind. It's no anger. Like what it is a way of not of flinching, of turning away. But that's okay. It's not justified because nothing is justified, and that's okay. So you learn to embrace it and say yes, that and much more. And as the more you do that, I find, I again, this is true of the thousands of students that have come through my programs, basically, or my community. Is that the more people are there's obviously ways to do this wrong. You can indulge too much, you can spiritually bypass on another side, but like on the whole, when people are able to embrace more and just say like it's okay and allow themselves to be more whole, truly whole, to like not flinch away from the hard stuff. Ironically, this is very non-Pollyanna-ish. There's my defensiveness probably, but also wanting to be seen, you know?